podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, May 23rd, 2020. This is episode 1697. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast comes to you from Twit's LastPass Studios. You're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure they are by making access and authentication seamless, whether they're working in the office or remotely. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more. This episode of the Tech Guy is brought to you by Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile provides the same premium network coverage you're used to, but at a fraction of the cost because everything is online. Mint Mobile makes it easy to cut your wireless bill down to just $15 a month with their 3-month introductory plan, and you get the plan shipped to your door free at mintmobile.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, you know, that kind of thing. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada, outside that area. You could still reach me, but you got to use some Skype out mojo. You need the ability to dial a phone from your Skype. But I'll give you that number again. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. I just open a little package from one of our listeners in Hollywood, Lewis. Thank you, Lewis. I survived. It's a mug. It says, I survived another video call that should have been an email. This is a quarantine mug. You know, it's funny. I think I'm starting to think about the historic record, right? Saving pictures, masks, stuff that because if you look at 1918 and the historic record of all those pictures, it seems so long ago, and they're all dressed funny and it's all black and white and stuff. Well, that's 100 years from now, people will be looking at pictures of us in our masks and things. As I left for work this morning, I said to my wife, I think the new fashion for men, as you go out, is going to be wearing a mask around your neck, right? I wouldn't be surprised. Fashions have been influenced by less than that. Just having, I got a mask around my neck. It's not, instead of a necktie, the masks I make have little loops that you can hang them around your neck when you're not wearing them, and then you can pull them up. Lisa just got something like that too. It's a stretchy material that goes around your neck. It looks like a scarf. But then, when you need to, you pull it up over your ears, and boom, you look like a bandit. Mommy, why does everybody look like a bandit these days? What happened in the tech news, in the world of tech? One thing that's interesting, another artifact of the times, number of companies are saying, this work from home thing isn't so bad. Twitter announced that its employees need never come back, which, by the way, if I'm an employee, I'm thinking, what do you mean now? What do you? No, we'll still pay you. You still have a job. You just can, which is really making Twitter employees and anybody who works in Silicon Valley happy, because the housing prices in Silicon Valley are out of control, the highest in the country. I mean, bet more than New York City. They're crazy. They're crazy. The San Francisco Chronicle, a newspaper up in San Francisco, has a regular feature showing the world's smallest apartment for the world's highest price. You won't believe this. One of them, it was an apartment with a ceiling, couldn't have been more than 6 feet. I mean, maybe 5 feet. It was like you'd have to hunch. It was, and they wanted $3,000 for this, like, one bedroom. No, it wasn't. It was a studio. It didn't even have the kitchen was under the loft bed. So people who work at Twitter and Facebook and Google are all going, well, yeah, if I can work from anywhere, what do I need to be here for? I can go move to Idaho or Montana or somewhere beautiful, and as long as I've got internet, I'm just as good as if I were working down the street. True. But then the question comes up, well, if you're not paying Silicon Valley housing prices, should you get paid Silicon Valley salaries? Now, I would say, yes, I'm doing the same job. What do you care? You're not paying me this salary because it's so expensive to live here. You're paying me this salary because it's what I'm worth, right? Facebook says, okay, you can work from home, but we may adjust your salary. Yes, this is a company that is minting coins. They're making their money hand over, and we may not pay you as much if you move to Montana. That's not going to work out for them because it's I think, a very competitive market for top engineering talent. Very competitive. Apple's always trying to, in fact, very famously, and he got in trouble for it, Steve Jobs made a deal with Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, a few other companies, that they wouldn't poach each other's employees. They wouldn't, if somebody came to Apple from Facebook and said, I'm not happy here, I'd like to come to work for you for more money, the Apple recruiters would say, no, you can't come here from Facebook, no. That turns out that's illegal. That's antitrust because it basically it turns, it doesn't give workers a free market to follow the best salary. So you can't do that. They want to do that, though. You better believe it. So instead of that now, it's exactly what Steve Jobs most feared. They're competing for the best talent. Throwing money at them, stock options, and amenities. Now, it's no good anymore, but if you worked at Google in the Google offices, you had dry cleaning, free meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you wanted, because they don't want you to leave. The last thing they want you to do is go down to the hamburger place and get lunch. No. Stay on the campus and keep typing. Keep writing that code. Dry cleaning. They did everything. In fact, there were even some Google employees who didn't, probably because of housing prices, didn't actually have apartments. They just lived in their cars or RVs or trucks in the parking lot because everything else they needed was right there. They just needed somebody to lie down. So one of the big changes now, it's kind of interesting. One of the big changes is employees for many companies are going to be able to stay home forever. Don't have to come in. I don't know. I think there's two. Here's the thing. In the Silicon Valley, in the business that I'm in, the tech business, people are in this business really because they don't like people. They're much more comfortable with machines. So those people, we call them introverts, those people, they're happy working from home. This is not a problem. I don't want all those people around. Oh, they're so annoying, people. They do things like talk to you, ask you how you're doing. How annoying is that? So those people work from home for them. Oh, man, that sounds great. I'll do it. Deal. But then there are normal people. I'll say normal, not me. I'm not normal. Why do you think I work in radio? I'm sitting in an empty room looking at a microphone talking. What kind of nut does that, right? That's my comfort zone. But there are people who actually like people. I'm told there are people who actually like, my wife likes people. What are you, crazy? So those people don't want to work from home, I think. I think it's hard for them. And there's a lot to be said when you're, even if you're a programmer, a normally introverted person who just wants to relate with a machine, not a human, even then, it's helpful to have other programmers around to look at your code, to talk about your code. So Microsoft had their, I'm telling you, the geeks, the introverts are in hog heaven. Microsoft had their developers conference this week, Build, they call it. First time they couldn't do it in real, meet space. They did it all virtually. It was great. You could stay at home and watch the whole thing on your computer. You don't have to talk to anybody. Nothing. You could stay in your jammies, you could wear your bunny slippers. It's okay because it's virtual. And of course, one of the things in the keynote, the big speech at the beginning, one of the things they showed off was the ability to program together over the internet. So you can, I'm working on my code, and I can have my friend who's in Idaho now because he couldn't pay the house prices out here. He can be on it with me and look. I can say, "What do you think of this?" And we're talking to each other. It's the new Zoom way of being. We're all Zooming now. We're all Zoomers. Forget baby boomers. That's this generation. I thought maybe it was going to be called Generation COVID. No, they're going to be called the baby Zoomers because they all grew up with Zoom. The only thing you can't do is make a baby. That's the only problem. Maybe there won't be a lot of baby Zoomers. Maybe I'm all wrong. I'm all wet on that. 8888 Ask Leo's the phone number. We'll figure it out. We're working on the technology because, we're introverts. We're geeks. We don't be nice. We could just stay in our little cozy room by ourselves. Have families and everything. It'd be great. 8888 Ask Leo. There's a website, techguylabs.com. That's free. There's no charge. I don't send you a newsletter. I don't spam you. I don't even want your email. Keep your email address to yourself. Just the site's there for you so you can look up things we talk about. James DeRuvo, my scribe, the official scribe of the Tech Guy Show, is writing everything down. He's putting it up on the website. Afterwards, we put audio and video from the show so you can, if you want to hear a call, you can read the question and answer, but you can also hear it or watch it because we video it for some reason. And it's all available to you at techguylabs.com. No charge, no sign up, just there. Boom. Like the way the web used to be. It's a miracle. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer. Kimmy don't take no Schaffer. Hello, phone angel Kimmy Schaffer.
Good morning. Happy weekend.
Do you have a cold?
No, I don't have a cold.
You have allergies.
My allergies, it's the worst allergy season of ever.
I think it is.
Ever.
We all have them. Yeah.
And I'm now doing that Flonase thing, which is way too much information. But that makes me sound even more
stuffed up. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, we've been downing Claritin. My son, he's 25, never had allergies in his life.
Yeah.
Says, "What do I do? I can't breathe."
No, it's been so bad.
Yeah, we live in well, first of all, I don't know why, but there's a lot of grasses around here. Mm-hmm. And then we had late rain, hard rain.
Yeah.
And then everything just decided all at once to go, "I'm alive." So the pollen you can almost see it floating in the air.
I swear it started in December.
It did. It's been a very bad allergy season. Yeah.
So
I don't know what that means. Check the Old Farmer's Almanac. Hey, who should I talk to today?
Let's go to Benjamin in Pacific Palisades. Line
Benjamin.
3.
Benjamin. Thank you. I hope you feel better. Hello, Benjamin. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Yeah, hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I have an old Mac desktop I built 13 years ago, still going strong.
Nice.
Everything's been fine.
Yeah.
Except the fellow that helped build it for me put in Microsoft Entourage as the mail app. And it's worked great until the last few months. You don't like it?
No. And it's long gone, by the way, as you might have observed. They've moved to Outlook on the Mac. Entourage was a brief fling with a Mac-specific program.
I had Outlook before that, and then when this guy built the computer, he said Entourage is much more elegant, much more
schmelligant. Elegant schmelligant.
Okay, well...
It's been discontinued. It was developed for Mac OS. Get ready for this. We're currently at 15. It was developed for Mac OS 8.
Yeah, I've got Snow Leopard. It's a 13-year-old desktop.
Yeah, the latest you can get is Snow Leopard. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, it worked great for years, and I have a small business that I have, a lot of emails and former contacts in there. And about 3-4 months ago, all of a sudden I got an error message when I tried to send mails. And it said, rebuild the database. I went through the program, rebuilt it, and it seemed to fix it. Then it happened again a month later. This time, nothing would fix it. I got with the AOL, which is my main mail receiver now. Their text, we tried everything, didn't fix it. All of a sudden, by itself, a month later,
it worked.
Okay.
I love this. This is a call from 1997.
Yes.
Hello, 1997.
Yes, and then it stopped working again after a month, and this time it won't me send mail.
You didn't think there was a little warning when it stopped working and then it started and then it stopped again that maybe it'd be time to do something about this?
Yes, so that's what I'm asking.
No, but it's too late now. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
But it fixed itself.
Yeah.
Went bad again, and now it just won't receive mails. It will let me send them. So is there anything I can do? Is it Microsoft that's screwing it up?
Well, I know you like paying because you're at AOL as well. So I know you're enjoying.
No, AOL's free. I was grandfathered in.
Oh, okay.
When Verizon went off landlines, AOL took over all my, and I have the same Verizon, .com as my address and so on. No, they've been great. AOL's been great. I don't pay a thing. So I'm having to use that primarily, but I kind of like to go back and have the Microsoft be, cataloging all my emails and being able to send from there and receive from there. It's impossible, or is there?
Well,
what is causing the glitch?
It could be AOL for all I know.
No.
No, it couldn't be AOL, except that you can receive but not send.
But before it was the other way around.
Yeah, but could that be AOL?
Well, we rebuilt everything. We checked all the settings. Nothing fixed it. Then it fixed itself.
Yeah, could that be AOL? Just asking a question. Could it be AOL? Yes, it could. Yes, it could.
Really?
Yes, of course it could. So, first of all, here's why I hate Entourage.
Okay.
With a passion. Besides the fact that it's been out, they haven't updated it in years, so you're already problematic, right? But again, you're using an ancient computer with an ancient operating system, so that,
right.
You like that. You like the pain. The problem with Entourage is, as you've noticed, and this is why I don't like Microsoft's Outlook either, it stores everything, contacts, calendar, and email in one massive, ugly file, which is very vulnerable. Microsoft, for some reason, loves doing this. They love having big hairball files. The problem is if it's one file and it gets corrupted, it's very hard to fix it. Now, Entourage and Outlook both have a rebuild index command that will go through that giant hairball file and try to fix it.
I've done that twice, yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's maybe kind of working sometimes and not working. But really, that's a terrible way to do things. And every other email program in the world, or almost every other, uses a much more sane system where they store emails as plain text files using in folders. So even if the email program fails, the email is there and readable. So I would strongly, if you love Entourage, I guess you could keep using it, but I don't think it's ever going to get better. My strong suggestion is you back up the PST file, the big hairball file, because that's going to fail again if not. And then you really want to check the settings. The fact that you can receive and not send, or then send and not receive, has, I think, more to do with settings than the program. So you really want to check the settings. This is best I can do at this point. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. All right, Mike B says, no. So what's the answer, Mike B? Tell me the answer. He says, no. So keep listening, because maybe our chat room is going to fix it. Mike B, I don't have high hopes, but maybe Mike B can fix it. No, he's just said, all he's saying is no, not anything else. So I don't know. Honestly, I would get a new email provider and a new email program. The mail program that comes with the Mac is excellent. I strongly recommend that. Mike, that's only if he's using AOL. Does AOL use Exchange? I'm thinking it's that it's IMAP. I mean, not IMAP, that it's POP, because it's so old. What is hip? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you hipster. You don't have a ponytail back there, do you, Scott Wilkinson?
No, I used to.
That's close enough. He is hip. He is Scott Wilkinson, our home theater geek on the Tech Guy Show. Joins us every week. Contributor at techhive.com. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo. Happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday. So there is a new projector technology I've never heard of in town.
Actually, you have.
Oh. Well, I know DLP and I know LCD.
Well, this is not a projector technology like that. It's called UST, ultra short throw.
Oh, I have a UST.
You have a UST.
So you're
projector.
right. You knew I knew about it because I has one. And you adjusted it for me. You calibrated it for me.
I calibrated it for you. That's exactly right.
I
now,
love that UST ultra short throw.
Right. And as you know, ultra short throw projector is a box that you put up right up against the wall, not right up against,
pretty close, like 6 or 8 inches away, yeah.
Exactly. And it shoots its projector light up at a steep angle, and it hits the screen, and then that light reflects out into the viewing area, and you see a projected image. It's not a projector across the room where, you might step in front of the beam and cast a shadow and everybody says, hey, down in front. You don't, in most cases, you don't even need a dark room because the screen is a special type of screen called an ambient light rejecting screen.
That's kind of the downside of this. You can't just use any old screen. You have to have a special screen, right?
Correct. That's correct.
Those ain't cheap.
No, they're not. But ultra short throw UST projectors, I would say you can get a good one in the $3,000, $3,500 range. And a good 100-inch UST screen is going to be upwards of like maybe $1,000. So you're $4,000 or $5,000, $4,000 or $4,500 into it.
But you said the key thing to me, 100-inch.
Yeah,
if you were
getting a 100-inch TV for $4,000.
Exactly. It's the only way you get a giant screen like that.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Reasonable.
Now, I wanted to point out to everybody that on Friday or so, a website called projectorcentral.com just posted a big section, a whole section on UST projectors, including an article on UST screens written by yours truly. So I love
yours truly. Every time he writes a story, I'll read it because he's good.
And I talk about all this stuff, the type of screen that it is, how it works.
It's like a prism, right? It's like a...
It is. It's amazing, actually. The screen, the front of the screen, the surface of the screen is covered by microscopically thin little ridges. And these ridges are designed in such a way that they see light coming up from below where the UST projector is sitting, and they reflect it straight back out.
Right. It's weird. It's weird. Now, I'm worried about dusting.
You don't want to put any pressure on it.
But if it had like a little feather duster. Okay,
that shouldn't be a problem.
Because those ridges do catch dust.
Yes, they do. That's true.
It's a very strange technology, but I have to say I love it because I have a 100-inch screen at home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really fun. It's not. The other thing is the downside, besides the cost, is it's not as bright. Correct.
It's certainly not as bright.
But no projector is.
No projector is. Not as bright as a flat panel TV.
Right.
But, a 98-inch flat panel TV is going to cost you $60,000.
Right.
And a 100-inch micro LED. You and I saw some micro LEDs at CES last year. Or earlier this year.
They were so beautiful this year.
They were so beautiful, and they're very bright. But, you're talking six figures.
Yeah.
So, unless you're in the top 0.1%, you're not going to buy that. You're going and an ultra short throw projector is going to do you just fine. And again, it can be seen perfectly well in a room with ambient lights. You can put it in your living room or your rec room or your rumpus room.
Do you have a rumpus room? I wish I had a rumpus room.
I know.
Because then we could have a rumpus in the rumpus room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you could put these things in, you don't have to have a dedicated home theater. With most long throw projectors, you can get an ALR, ambient light rejecting screen, for a long throw projector. That is a projector across the room. And that will help, certainly.
So those are brighter environments. Those look better.
Correct.
But the short throw screen doesn't have that feature, or can it have that feature?
It does.
Okay.
It typically does.
So
I don't
that's
know of
nice.
any that don't.
So a short throw screen will perform better in a room that's not as dark than just a painted wall or a regular.
Oh man,
movie
you really don't want a painted wall.
Yeah. Well, you can buy special paint.
You can buy
it's got
special
little reflective crystals in it. It makes it brighter, right? But it doesn't do that ambient light rejecting.
Correct. Yeah. Nor does it do the ultra short throw trick of accepting light coming up from below and then reflecting it straight out.
The TV I bought from Hisense came with a screen.
Yeah.
So, but that's not the case. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's not always.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of companies that offer what are called UST screens, and I list them at the end of that article.
Oh, cool.
So you can, take a look and go check them out.
You usually want the screen that matches this projector, though.
Well, right? No, not necessarily.
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as it has this what's called a lenticular microstructure. Ooh.
Oh, there you go. Or an LMS.
Yeah, or an LMS. Yes, a lenticular microstructure.
LMS MFT makes fine television. Yep.
If as long as it has that, it's designed to take the light from below and reflect it out that way, while at the same time taking light in from the sides or from above and absorbing it or reflecting it away from the viewing area, which is really how ambient light screens work, then you're good. You're absolutely fine.
Cool.
And so this, I would love for people to check out the article. I'm quite proud of it myself. So
well, we need it because this is a complicated and confusing subject.
Exactly, and I take great pains to explain it very carefully so that people can understand it. That section of the website also includes a buyer's guide to ultra short throw projectors. This is becoming a big market segment of projectors because of the fact that people can put them in their rumpus room.
Well, and people want bigger TVs. And
people want bigger TVs. Exactly right. And this is the way to do it without breaking the bank.
So ours is in our great room, which is basically our living room, and then the kitchen's there and the dining room's there. It's all one big room. And it's such a big...
You've got a lot of light, got a lot of windows or sliding glass.
And there's a whole wall of sliding glass, so there's a lot of light. Although we have curtains, and then there's light from the front door, so there's a lot of ambient light. But we love it because it's big enough that anywhere in the big room, even if you're in the kitchen, you can see what's going. You can see the screen. And boy, for a football game, which we'll never see again, but for a football game, it's really fun. And you can have people over. We had people over to watch the Academy Awards, and you can have a party because it's so big.
Yep.
The people are actually life-size.
Yeah.
It's like a movie theater. It is almost like a movie theater. So I
wonder what it'd be like to have a giant Zoom meeting on that thing.
Nope, not going to do it. I'm all about fewer Zoom meetings.
Yeah, okay. I'll accept that. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
No more Zoom meetings. So if you go to techhive.com.
No, Projector Central.
I'm sorry, Projector Central. TechHive you also write for.
I also write for TechHive. I write regularly there, but this one's on projectorcentral.com.
Projectorcentral.com. We'll put a link in the show notes.
Great.
So everybody can read that. Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek, projectorcentral.com, techhive.com, and a regular guy around here. Thank you, Scott. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Awesome. That is a much-needed article. So is this a new venue for you, Projector Central?
This is my first contribution to them. They've been around quite a while.
Yes, I know. Yeah. But your first time. Good.
This is my first appearance on that site, and I'm now currently working on another article for them.
Good. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, rolling in the years. 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Line 1, Chuck in Lawrence, Kansas. Hey, Chuck.
Hi.
Hey, welcome.
I'm hoping that you can save my problem or send me in the right direction.
I'll do my best.
Okay. I've got a setup almost identical to one I had last year, but I cannot print with my. I get every time I select my printer, it says no AirPrint printer found.
Ah, so you're using an Apple device.
Yes.
And you're printing over the Wi-Fi to a printer that understands AirPrint because you've used it before.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've got the same setup. I had a Synology RT 2600 AC router.
Oh, that's a good router. You like that, huh, Chuck?
Yeah, and an Epson ET 4550.
I'm loving the EcoTank, our sponsor. So I like your hardware setup.
Now I have an Epson ET 5800.
Okay, and you have printed to that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so it was working, but it's not working now.
Pro.
Yeah.
Phone. Okay, so I can't print with my iPhone or my iPad. Now I've got 3 Apple computers. I've got.
This is good. This is good information. So nothing will AirPrint to it.
No. I got a MacBook Pro. Right. None of my iMacs will.
Will your iPad print to it?
No.
Nothing will print to it.
I've got an iMac and MacBook Air and a MacBook Pro from last year, and all 3 of those OS systems print fine. They will print anything I want.
Oh, okay. So this is good information. So what won't print?
Anything. You know, if
No. What hardware doesn't work? It's just the iPad and the iPhone?
yes.
Okay. So the Macs aren't using AirPrint. They just print to the printer via Wi-Fi. So it's really that AirPrint has failed. And
and I've been online for about 6 hours.
oh, Lord. That is with Apple or Epson? Okay.
Epson both, and
Apple.
Synology also. And they're all blaming each other.
Yeah, of course.
And
Of course. That makes it really hard to solve the problem, doesn't it? Because nobody's taking responsibility for it. So you've got a printer that's AirPrint enabled. You're using an iPad or an iPhone, and it won't print. Your computer will print, so we know you can print over the Wi-Fi.
right.
AirPrint is a little bit different, as you probably figured out. It's supposed to be easier. I'm trying to think of why. When you go to print on your iPad, can you see the Epson 5800? If you go to printer options, so
On the iPad?
yeah, because that's the one not printing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So when you go to the share icon to print, all right?
Yeah.
And you hit the little printer thing, you're gonna see a printer options page pop up, and at that point, you can select the printer. Make sure that the 5800 is selected. It could be that it's still trying to print to the 4550. That would be an issue. Or sometimes they revert. But make sure that it can see the printer. That's job one, right? To know if it's seeing the printer.
It doesn't see the print. It shows. If I hit print, then it will ask me to select it. But there is no printer there.
So you're seeing printer and it says select printer, and you tap select printer and nothing shows up.
Right.
Perfect. That's an important diagnostic point. Because obviously it's not going to print if it can't see the printer. So now we know it isn't. It probably is the Epson. So you might want to go over to the Epson control panel and make sure AirPrint is set up. It's set up to use your current Wi-Fi network. Make sure the Epson, we know the Epson is connected to the Wi-Fi properly because you can print from your computer. That's good. So the Epson's on the right Wi-Fi. It's seeing it. I would check the AirPrint settings on the Epson. That's most likely where the error is lying, because we know that the iPhone, this is the diagnostic process. We looked at the iPhone. It doesn't see it. You're on the same Wi-Fi. Make sure you're on the same Wi-Fi, obviously. The iPhone doesn't see the printer. I guess technically it could be the Synology. It's possible to tell the Synology don't pass along AirPrint. If that Synology's new, if you've never printed from it, maybe that you should look at that. But generally, it's not the router. The router could stop it with some unusual settings. Generally, it's not the router. It's the printer AirPrint needs to be enabled. So I'll put in the show notes, there's an excellent support page if you can't print from your iOS device on the Apple site. And I would go through it. it says restart the Wi-Fi router, restart the printer, move your printer closer to your Wi-Fi router. That's not the issue because you can print via Wi-Fi. Update your printer, make sure you have the latest firmware. You're running the latest iOS firmware. I'm sure you are. Those are all the obvious things. I'm sure Apple walked you through all of those obvious things. You might even, one more thing you might, let's see. There's no drivers for AirPrint. I think it comes down to the printer, and it's something wrong with the printer's AirPrint. So go try to look through those and make sure everything's set up properly. That'd be my best guess on that. There's something odd going on. Bob in Atlanta, Georgia. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Bob.
Hello, Leo. I have a question. A friend of mine from church has a bellsouth.net email account. He did receive an email from somebody he thought was AT&T corporate wanting to know if he wanted to upgrade his security. Well, apparently he did that, and they got hacked, and they went in. Apparently did a redirection of his email to a Gmail account. So my simple question is how does he attack the problem since he doesn't know very much about computers?
Right.
Need to go, since Bell South went to AT&T and AT&T went to Yahoo for email support, who would be the appropriate person?
So this is the risk he's at right now. It's likely the bad guys changed his email password.
Well, he got that. We worked with him and got that reset.
Perfect. That's really important.
And then I had him.
And by the way, very important. If they have two-factor, turn that on, because then the password alone no longer lets them into the account. But the most important thing to understand is the reason they go after your email account is because all of his other accounts are probably set to contact the email account if he loses his password. And so what they will then do, so this is how hackers work. They'll get the Bell South account. They'll get that, log into that. Then they will methodically and quickly, because they know they have a limited amount of time before he's going to figure this out, go to his bank or every bank, try to find out if they, see if there's an account associated with that Bell South address. They'll go to everywhere, Facebook, whatever they can. Mostly they go to financial institutions and try, and then so they'll say, hey, I'm your friend at bellsouth.net. I forgot my password. And as you know, that password reset will then go to that email account, the Bell South account, which they control. So now they can, so he needs to not just do what he did with his email, fix that password. And again, turn on two-factor. He needs to go to every other account he owns, especially the money accounts, the ones bad guys are most interested in. Make sure that no illegal transfers have happened, no unauthorized transfers, and then change all of those passwords and turn on two-factor. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. All right, Scotty.
Aye.
Oi, Scotty. Full
Captain.
speed ahead. Now, let me get you the clock, because I know you like that.
I like that clock. You cannot change the laws of physics.
I'm a doctor, not a mechanic. All right, we got the clock. That's good. Now I'm going to change 9, the input 9, to reflect
Number 9.
You and your clock.
Me and my clock.
You and your clock.
Me and my clock.
There we go. And now I'm going to zoom in on the clock.
Woo!
And you have 8 minutes. Have fun.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hey, everybody. So nice to see you all. I saw Golem had a great comment here. I made my TV 13% bigger. I moved my chair closer. Exactly. That's exactly correct. That's the way to make your TV screen bigger, is move your chair closer. Of course, there are guidelines about how much of your field of view a video image should encompass. So if you get too close, you run the risk of having to move your head back and forth to see the whole image, and you run the risk of seeing individual pixels, being able to detect individual pixels and seeing what we call the screen door effect. So with a 4K TV, that's not so much of a problem. And with an 8K TV, it's really not a problem. But for 1080p, you can actually, some of the recommendations, there are various recommendations on the ideal distance to sit, mostly from THX and SMPTE, the Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers. And some of the recommendations are actually closer than you should sit to a 1080p set, because if you sit at that distance, you'll see the individual pixels. You'll see the screen door effect if you have 20/20 vision. Now, if you don't, that's a whole other story. But this is a very interesting subject that, you know, is actually pretty complicated. But generally speaking, Golem is correct. Move your chair closer, you see a bigger TV. See, Beatmaster asked if I saw and enjoyed the new Tenet trailer. Yes, I did, and yes, I did. Boy, I don't know. I don't know whether or not we're gonna be able to go back to the theater in July, and even if it's allowed, I'm not sure I'm going to go. Sad to say. Scissor Fight says lenticular like the Cracker Jack toys. Exactly right. That is exactly correct. Lenticular technology is how simple 3D is often done. In that case, the lenticular technology, the lenticular ridges, and that's really all lenticular means, are vertical rather than horizontal. In a UST screen, they're horizontal mostly. There is one variation, which I write about in the article. But for now, let's just say that they're all vertical because the light's coming up from below and getting reflected out into the viewing area. But with those Cracker Jack toys, the lenticular ridges are vertical, so that basically they bend the light so that your right eye sees one view and your left eye sees the other view, and you see pseudo 3D. It's kind of funky, but it sort of works, and they used them in Cracker Jack toys, among other things. So that's a very good relation there, relating what I was talking about to Cracker Jack toys. Beatmaster, do you think Universal movies will ever be in theaters again? This seems to heat up between them and AMC. Yeah, there seems to be a big brouhaha or kerfuffle over between Universal and AMC. I don't even know if AMC is going to open up again. They're on the brink of bankruptcy. Now, bankruptcy doesn't necessarily mean they'll go away. They could come back from that. But again, I think that theaters, like live concerts, are going to be one of the last things to come back. I'm convinced, relatively 100%, not exactly 100%, but pretty sure we're not going to be able to have Tuba Christmas this year. Why? Because we have 100 people on stage playing tuba and 1,000 people in the audience singing. And singing is one of the most singing in a group, in a choir or in a big group, is one of the most dangerous things you can do in this pandemic. Why? Because as you sing, you're expelling particulate matter, little droplets, aerosolized COVID from your mouth. And you're shooting it out farther, probably even than 6 feet, because you're forcefully singing and projecting, hopefully, as a good singer does. But that causes the aerosol to spread wider. I'm sure most of you have seen this story from, I think it was Washington State. There was a choir practice, and 80, 90% of those people, one person was positive for COVID in the choir practice, and 80% of them got the disease, got infected. So until we have a vaccine, which I don't think is going to be till next year at the earliest, and that's going to be record time, I don't think we're going to be able to have, singing together. Our Jewish New Year program relies on a chorus. And we're not going to be able to get together and practice in August. We're just not going to be able to, nor be in an auditorium and sing on stage with an audience singing along. We encourage a lot of sing along there too. So, and cinema, certainly you're not going to be singing, hopefully, generally not. But you are sitting close together. And even if you do every other seat, that's not 6 feet. So I myself am going to be pretty careful about that. I'm not going back to the movie theater anytime soon. And I think a lot of people aren't either. This does not bode well for cinema, I'm sorry to say. Beatmaster says a new study found that only singers are in danger, no horns or other wind instruments. I suspected that may be true because by the time the wind goes through the horn and comes out the bell, I'm sure there's not much aerosolization. But I do wonder about the spit valves. Pardon me, the condensation valves. On all brass instruments, there's a little valve at the bottom of one or more of the tubes, and as you breathe into the horn, the moisture condenses and collects. And if you don't let it out, pretty soon your horn is gurgling. And you don't want that. So you have this little valve, and it lets the water come out, and it's perfectly clean water. It's distilled water, although in this case it might be infected. It might very well have the virus in it, the coronavirus. But it's only going to go down and be on the ground. Now, will it splash around, and will it sort of move around in the air after you release it from the condensation valve? I don't know. Mike 1 is saying maybe our group can do it on the internet. I've been looking into this, and I'll make a report sometime on the show about that possibility, but it's not easy.
Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yes, it's time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones. We got your smart watches. We got your augmented reality, 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, use Skype. You can still reach me. Skype out. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. I mentioned augmented reality. You know what the augmented reality is, right? You know what virtual reality is. You may even have experienced that. I think that's a little bit more commonplace. That's where you put on that visor with 2 screens, one for each eye, and then you attach it to a computer, either wired or wirelessly, and you can play a game. You can be in Venice or Paris and look around. And the visor has a sensor in it that detects your head motion and can then move your head, your virtual head, in the same way, so that if you look left with your real head, your virtual view turns to the left and the right. It's a very vivid effect. And, there's even video game establishments. I don't know what to call them. They're like storefronts where you can go and you can play games. And they actually are very effective because not only are you wearing the headpiece, but they've arranged it so they can tell as you move around. And they've built sets. They don't look like anything because you're not looking at them, but you can feel them. So they sync up the virtual reality world with the set so that when you touch something, it actually is a physical thing you're touching. And it's very realistic. I've played those and I really enjoy them. They're quite fun. But VR in general, I think a lot of people, a certain percentage of it, in studies the Air Force did because they were doing flight simulators, I think they found that 11% of everybody has something called gets VR sickness, which includes a disorientation that can last as long as 24 hours after you take off the visor. And it can, of course, include nausea. I'll get queasy if at some games, if I play too long. And it's really the case if you play for half an hour or an hour, that when you take it off, you're kind of like, ooh. The Air Force study said you shouldn't drive a car for 24 hours after you do that because, everything's a little weird. Your brain is kind of reacting to it. But that's VR. There's something called AR. In fact, Microsoft has a product called HoloLens. Maybe you've heard about that. Magic Leap was making something. They almost went out of business. They just got an infusion of several $100 million that lets them keep their staff. They were about to fire everybody and try to continue working on these augmented reality glasses. Those look a little different. Magic Leap has a pair. You look like a weird alien insect, but they're not as big as the visors. And the biggest thing that's different about AR is you look through the lenses and you can see the world around you. But it's like a heads-up display. Ever driven a car where the speed of the car is projected on the windscreen in front of you? That's called a heads-up display. Pilots use those. They project information about the flight up on the screen, the windscreen, so they can continue to steer, look ahead, but they get information kind of superimposed on the real world. That's how AR glasses work. There are even some models out there that do this. The reason there's a lot of attention lately to it is because of a rumor that Apple, which has been talking a lot about AR for a long time, is in a year about to release its own version of augmented reality spectacles. Glasses that would look somewhat like regular glasses, but they'd have all sorts of additional features. They'd have an accelerometer like in your phone, so it would know if you turn your head or what you're looking at. It would have speakers in the temples so you could hear. These are all technologies Apple has devised for the iPhone or the AirPods, but they would kind of migrate to these spectacles. They'd have screens that you could look through. In fact, the rumor is they'd even be prescription lenses for people like me who have to wear glasses. You could look through them. They'd be your glasses. But you'd also see other stuff. And now what other stuff depends on, the company providing the software. It's like a computer. It could be as simple as you're walking down a street and it could have the names of the stores superimposed. You could be you could be navigating with a map, probably not driving. That might not be a good idea, but while you're walking and see arrows saying turn left here, turn right here. So you wouldn't have to look at your phone. It's the same kind of information you get from your phone or maybe your Apple Watch, but you wouldn't have to look at it. You'd just be seeing it in the real world. It can get more complicated. There are sci-fi novels where people are walking around with little bubbles over their head with their reputation score and information about them, things like that. You can think, if you start thinking about it and daydreaming, they could think of a lot of things to do with it. Apple is desperate to find the next big thing. They made so much money on the iPhone. It was so successful. And it propelled their company to such heights. For briefly, the most valuable company ever in the history of the world. Still right up there. Almost $1 trillion company, even after all the stock losses of the last few months. I mean, they made a lot of money, and that's primarily on the iPhone. But they have a problem. Everybody who wants an iPhone has one. And we don't buy new iPhones every year. We probably buy them every 2, 3, 4 years, right? I mean, they're expensive. They've even, because they sold all the iPhones they could sell in the U.S., they started to open new markets in India and China, giant markets. But there's some political headwinds there and issues there. In fact, China has lately made noises about returning the favor. The U.S. now bans Huawei equipment. That's a Chinese company. And the rumor is that China might ban Apple equipment in retaliation. So Apple, we need to find something else, Apple says. What's the next iPhone? What's the next big thing? And they seem to think now that it's these augmented reality spectacles. Eyeglass is the rumor. Eyeglasses. Of course they'll call it eyeglass. That's a great name. And if you have an Apple Watch, you understand how the Apple Watch can provide an additional screen for your iPhone. Think of it that way. Probably initially anyway would require an iPhone. All the computation would be done on the iPhone. Maybe your notifications pop up or a weather forecast. You'd be able to talk to Siri in them. Tap the temple piece and say, what's the weather going to be? Or is it going to rain today? And it would either probably would tell you in the earpiece, but it might also, as the AirPods do now, or it might also pop up a forecast on your glasses. There are battling rumor mills. So there's a number of people who do Apple rumors. Mark Gurman's the best, the longest running. He's at Bloomberg. There's a new guy who's been very good in the last year, John Prosser. He's got a YouTube channel, but he also tweets these rumors. And then there's a guy in China, Ming-Chi Kuo, who has particular expertise because he's in China on the manufacturing of these devices. Ming-Chi Kuo said the AR glasses will be in 2022. John Prosser said the AR glasses will be in 2021. I've seen them, he says. They're sleek. Mark Gurman weighed in this week and said, John's full of it. Oh, man. Who do you believe? I don't know. I do think it's very interesting, and we've spent a lot of time on our podcasts stuff talking about these augmented reality glasses. What would they be? Would you like them? What if they were roughly the same size, weight as your existing glasses, or a pair of sunglasses if you don't wear sunglasses, if you don't wear glasses? You'd have to charge them. They have, according to Prosser, a wireless charger. When you get home at night, you just put them on that upside down, and they're ready to go the next day. You could listen to music because it would have, good headphones in the earpieces. But more importantly, you could get information about the world around you as you walk around. Maybe repair manuals. You're trying to figure out how to hammer in a nail. You could say, hey, you know who? Show me a video. Show me how to do this. And it would show you in the glasses, not a video like a YouTube video, but a video that's designed to be so that you could look through it and use it as a guide for doing things. Doesn't that sound interesting? I think it's, I'm not going to weigh in on this year, next year, the year after. Who knows? No one knows. Not even Apple, probably, because they got to figure this all out. And lots of things can happen. But I'm going to say it's very credible that it will happen in the next couple of years. And it's going to be very interesting, I think. Our podcast today brought to you by Mint Mobile. What a great deal. Mint Mobile is my cell carrier. In fact, it's on this phone. I love Mint Mobile. If you're still using one of the big wireless providers, what are you paying for? I mean, my cell bill was like $80, $90 a month. Well, a lot of that money goes to expensive retail stores. A lot of it's just inflated prices, hidden fees. You're being taken advantage of. They know you'll pay because they're the big guys. Enter Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile provides the same premium network coverage you're used to, but at a fraction of the cost because they don't have stores. They don't have hidden fees. Everything is online. They save, and then they pass those savings on directly to you. And let me tell you how much you save. Mint Mobile makes it easy to cut your wireless bill down to $15 a month. This is a 3-month introductory plan. This is what I would do. This is how I started. Every plan comes with unlimited nationwide text and talk. And with Mint Mobile, you're going to stop paying for unlimited data you never use because you can choose with your plan 3, 8, or 12 gigabytes of LTE data. You could bring your own phone, keep your own phone number, or get an iPhone SE, which I think when you combine the iPhone SE and Mint Mobile, now you have an incredible combination. I love this iPhone SE, and it's very affordable. You can get it directly from Mint Mobile or, as I said, bring your own phone. They'll send you the SIM at no cost. You put it in. You could port your old number over so you don't lose your number. You don't lose your contacts. All you lose is your big headache of a cell phone bill. $15 a month with their 3-month introductory plan, and they'll ship you that SIM for free. Now, I have to say, I recommend that so you can see if you like it. It's a great way to just try it out. I liked it so much, and I was saving so much. I thought, well, let me look at the other plans. I ended up buying the 12 gigabyte a month plan because I'm a data hog. I like having a lot of data. I have to say I've yet to use all 12 gigabytes, but I bought the 12 gigabyte a month plan. So it's unlimited text, unlimited talk nationwide, and 12 gigabytes of data, which for me is effectively unlimited. How much do you think I pay for that? I bought it for a year, so it's $300. That's $25 a month. So literally for less than 1/3 of what I'm paying for my T-Mobile service, I get the same service at 1/3 of the cost. I love it. Mint Mobile's an amazing deal. MintMobile.com/TechGuy. Start with the introductory plan. Make sure it's right for you. $15 a month, 3-month introductory plan. MintMobile.com/TechGuy. You're going to love it. MintMobile.com/TechGuy. I even got my phone from them. Thank you, Mint Mobile. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Line 4, Dino, Claremont. Thanks for hanging on, Dino.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Well, doing okay. Got a question for you. It's kind of off the wall, probably. I use Label Factory Deluxe 4 for all my address labels, right?
Yep.
And I use them all the time, especially at Christmas time. There's one of my great-granddaughter in a little Santa hat, and I put that on there, right?
Oh, how cute. That's so cute. And what do you, and so you print it out and then you put it on something or on envelopes or?
Well, I buy the Avery labels, right?
Perfect, yeah.
And they're address labels.
Yeah.
And then I'll...
So you have her on the addresses.
Yeah, and I put a picture on that.
That's cute.
So that works good. And then I have other ones that I made, and, but anyways, it was working fine. And then it said update. So I said, hey, maybe I should. Update it, and it wouldn't work.
Oh, no.
So then I got a hold of them, and it's Nova Development Technical Support that handles all that.
Yeah.
And they said, since you have Windows 10, I don't like Windows 10 anyways, but since you have Windows 10, uninstall the Adobe Flash Player Security.
Oh,
so
Lord.
I did that.
Oh, dear.
And that didn't help. That's supposed to be the workaround.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Well, first of all, they're using Flash in this thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a real problem. That's
She said to uninstall it, and I did.
No, you're not uninstalling it. You're uninstalling the security, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the security is what protects you from that notoriously horrible thing called Flash. So that's interesting. It sounds like this label maker is using, if I'm reading this right, is using Flash in the program.
Yeah, and she said the workaround
is to turn off security.
Yeah, the uninstall the Adobe Flash security. I did that, and it's not working. And then
yes, but you understand why that's a problem. That's like, okay, that's like saying, well, our software uses rabid ferrets to display the animated graphics, but you're using Windows 10, and you, of course, has a rabbit ferret cage that keeps the rabbit ferrets from attacking you. So eliminate the rabbit ferret cage, and our software will work just fine. But meanwhile, your computer is in a mess. How did you just out of curiosity, how did you uninstall Adobe Flash Security?
I went through their instructions, and I went in there, and it said Windows, what the heck, Windows Player, Windows Adobe Flash Player Security, and then I uninstalled it.
Oh, yikes.
I think I did it right. I'm not sure.
That's like saying, you know, our windows and doors work much better without locks. But I want a lock. No, it won't work without a lock. Yeah. I'm not sure what exactly Adobe Flash Security is.
Well, I contacted them again, and they said they were working with the company and trying to come up with some kind of other workaround.
Yeah, like
I saved all these labels, and I can get another system.
There are other label maker programs. This is a puzzlement to me because there's no Flash. What Flash is a animation program. It's a tool used mostly on websites. You could use it in a program. There's no reason not to, but there's a lot of reasons not to do it. Adobe
uninstall it, and then whatever label.
You sure the word security was in there? They didn't just say uninstall Adobe Flash. They said uninstall Adobe Flash Security. See, that sounds bad to me. That does not sound good.
I've seen other label programs. But if they don't work with your 10, you can't take them back. And I've seen some that can you recommend a good one?
Well, that one specifically says it works with Windows 10, which is bizarre.
It did? Because they're telling me it don't.
Label Factory Deluxe, right? Label Factory Deluxe 4, that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They say it doesn't work with Windows 10. It says it works with Windows 10
you're
here.
Forced to use 10, because I used to use Movie Maker too, because I use Pinnacle Studio 15.
Pinnacle's great. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, but with my camera, instead of the little, I forget, whatever port on a computer, you got to use, with my camera, my Canon camera, you have to use the USB. So if I plug that in, it won't recognize it. So I had to before, because Pinnacle told me this, to go to Windows Movie Maker, put it in there, then from there, then put it in Pinnacle, then you can do all your editing and stuff. But Windows 10 doesn't have a Movie Maker, right?
Right, they took it out.
Yeah,
so
I can't stand it. I don't know.
Well, okay.
And I'm forced to use it.
Yes, again, because there's no security for previous versions of Windows. And security,
right.
If you're using Windows, security needs to be top of mind. So I'm not sure. What it sounds like is this label maker uses Adobe Flash. That's a huge problem. Adobe Flash end of life is this year, and it should not be used ever again. It is a horribly insecure program. 2, it sounds like, and I may be misreading this, they've asked you to turn off Windows 10's protection. They sandbox Flash to protect you if you have to use it. It sounds like they're telling you to turn that off so that their program will run, which means basically you're letting all your defenses down to use this program. 3, you shouldn't, if you're using Windows 10, you need to find a program that is made for Windows 10. If it's not made for Windows 10, it means they haven't updated that program in many, many years. Yeah. So I would look for another. What's the hardware you're using? Is it a regular printer or is it something different?
Oh no, it's a Brothers printer.
Okay, they all work with all of them work with Avery labels. That's the standard.
It's not Wi-Fi or nothing like that.
Yeah. No. It's if you're not using a specialized printer, you're just using Avery labels. Every single label printing program supports Avery labels. You wouldn't make it in the business if you didn't. So I would find one that works with Windows 10. And you still have the image files that you used of the dancing daughter and all that. So I think you're going to be fine. Find a program that doesn't require to lower security. That's bad. He's been everywhere. He's Johnny Jet. He's breathing the fresh mountain air. Well, not really. He's in his basement because we're all stuck at home. JohnnyJet.com is his website, a great site. If you want to think about travel, dream about travel, let's do it. He also is got a new podcast at anchor.fm/JohnnyJet. What are you doing in your podcast, John?
You know what? Actually, I'm using my YouTube series where I do 39 travel questions, which I interviewed you.
Yep.
And I'm actually right now just posting those onto the podcast, but I will start doing like travel news and things like that.
Perfect. I think that's a great idea. So your YouTube channel is youtube.com/JohnnyJet too. So you got Johnny Jet everywhere. Instagram, Twitter.
I do. I've been fortunate to pretty much snag the name right when they come out with everything. Even though when Twitter first came out, I was like, this is the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
But after a few months, I was like, man, this is brilliant. And but I think, people are starting to travel, and I don't think it's wise to get on a plane right now. And I would not
do it if you had
my
to.
Family or myself on a plane. I had one of your viewers sent me a question this morning asking for their advice. Should they fly to Florida in a couple weeks? And I was like, listen, I can't tell you what to do, but I personally would not get on a plane right now.
Disney's opening, right? Or is that true?
Yeah, they're opening. I mean, places are opening. Different countries, I think this is definitely the year of staying local, at least domestically. But every state and especially every country is different. Some countries are not opening their borders, so you got to do your research in advance. If you are going to travel,
some countries won't even let you in, right?
Some won't. Some countries will not let you in. Yeah. I don't think the states can legally block you, but Hawaii is very strict.
They quarantine you for 2 weeks if you go.
They do. Yeah. And most states are telling you to quarantine for 2 weeks if you come, or a lot of them are.
Right.
Yesterday, 348,000 people went through TSA.
That's up from last week even.
That's up like almost 100,000. And then a month ago it was 95,000 or 93,000, which was the all-time low, I think. And but keep in mind, a year ago yesterday, 2.7 million people went through.
Yeah.
So they're still down like 80%, but it's definitely coming back.
Are people traveling for pleasure, or is it because they have to do it for work? Or
no, I think it's mostly pleasure because business travel has pretty much just stopped. Unless you're an essential worker and you're going to different hospitals and things like that. Business travel is really taking a hit. And I've actually, this week I was speaking to a big hotel executive, and they said they're not even trying to get meetings and conventions, not just for this year or next year. They're aiming for 2022.
Well, part of the reason for that is there's huge financial commitments. A lot of companies lost millions of dollars because they had to cancel their events. But you can't just, you've given money to the hotels, you've given money to the vendors. You can't just say, I want my money back. So and so I understand they're reluctant to make plans until we know what it's going to look like next
Without
year.
a doubt.
Yeah.
But and the airlines are starting to get creative too. This week, so last week I talked about how Air Canada has not given me my money back, or anyone's money back and any Canadian airline, by the way. They're like, sorry, even though it's a DO2 rules, they're not giving the money back because they're struggling. But they did come up with a much better deal this week where they're saying, okay, we'll now give you your money back in terms of a travel voucher, but instead of expiring in 1 year or 2 years, it will never expire, and you can transfer it to someone else's name.
Oh, that's great. That's a good solution.
If they said that in the beginning, I'd be like, fine, I'm eventually going to fly.
You're going to fly to Canada sometime. Yeah.
But Qatar Airways actually, they actually one-upped them, and now they're allowing people, if you book a ticket through them, you can change it within 5,000 miles. So let's say you find a cheap ticket to go, New York, and you always have to go through
Where does Qatar Airways go?
Well, they always go to Doha, which is their hub, and Doha is an amazing airport lounge. And if you can fly business class on their Q seats, it's the best business class out there. But so they fly probably to 100 destinations. Not right now, but all around the world. And I've taken them, fortunately, around the world. But you can say, I want to buy a ticket to India, which is typically much cheaper than it would be to, say, Sydney, Australia. Although Sydney's probably around 7,000 miles. So that wouldn't be a good example. So, but you could say, instead of going to India, I want to go to the Maldives or Singapore. And you can change it for free one time.
Forever?
And, if you buy it now, so they all need cash. All the airlines need cash, and if you don't want to change the destination, they'll let you change it into their points, and they'll give you a 10% bonus. So that's not a bad deal too. And the other big travel news this week is that Hertz last night filed for bankruptcy.
That hurts.
That does hurt.
Now, is it Chapter 11 or 7? Are they reorganizing?
No, it's Chapter 11. They're staying in business.
So they're staying in business.
They're reorganizing.
Because I'm a Hertz Gold member. Am I going to lose all my gold points?
No, you won't.
Okay.
I mean, right now you will not. And I'm the same situation. But, I always love when these companies, have these big negative news come out on Friday evening because no one's.
They're burying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
they've been waiting for it.
Except the news is round the clock now, so there's no burying anything.
Yeah. Well,
the interesting thing is Sam was talking about this. Sam Abul-Samad, our car guy, he comes on Sunday. He said when Hertz goes bankrupt, because this has been expected for a while, they're going to put a lot of low mileage cars on the market. It's going to depress the used car prices. So expect a flood of used cars out there.
But not only that, they're not going to buy new cars. So these big car rental companies, they buy the most cars.
Yeah, these fleet sales. Yeah, it's a chain reaction all the way down. Yeah,
it is. But so keep in mind with that, and if you are going to rent a car, there are places where you can get a really good car deal right now. So instead of driving, like one of my cousins wanted to drive to Arizona. He wanted to take his car, drive to Arizona, pick up an RV, and then put his car on a flatbed. I was like, why don't you just rent a car for one way? It would be so much cheaper. Yeah. And the places I go for car rentals these days, I go to either Costco Travel,
okay,
or Auto Slash.
Auto slash.
So what Auto Slash does is you put in all your whatever freaking flyer or even, if you're a member of ARP or Costco or Sam's Club, I think it is, you check mark all those things. You put in your dates, and then you go. You wait about 15 to 30 minutes for them to email you, and they'll give you a rate. And usually it's really low, but I still find Costco to be even better because with Costco, I'll make a car reservation and then I'll just keep checking every few days before the trip. And it usually has gone down. And with Costco, you can change for free and then just rebook it, cancel it and rebook it. And you'll save money.
So as is often the case, all this misfortune can also bring deals. I mean, I don't want to feel like a vulture or anything, but there's
this is pre-COVID.
There's an opportunity here
as well.
Yeah, and I have to say, one of the reasons a lot of companies, retail too, but Hertz are going out of business is they were so highly leveraged. Hertz owed $24 billion that they don't have any resilience. So it's just you know what, you don't have any income, but you've got savings. These companies were really living on the edge anyway, and those are the ones that are gonna go bye-bye.
Yeah, and
it's sad. It's not a good thing, but
it is sad. I mean, obviously,
I think of the
they
employees,
were in trouble before COVID,
Well,
pre-COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Or COVID-19, I should say.
Johnny,
But,
I can't wait till you can come on or go on your podcast at Anchor FM, Johnny Jet, or go on your website and say, we're open for business. Let's all go to Paris. I'll meet you there.
I can't wait either.
I'll buy you a coffee and a croissant.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too. I'm sure you're itchy because you're a traveler. Got to get out there. Got to see the world.
I'm trying.
JohnnyJet.com. Johnny, always a pleasure.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, stay safe, stay well, and we'll talk to you next week. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. This is Lady Laura, our musical director, is playing the perfect song for my clock in the studio. Time keeps on slipping. I came in, it was April 9th on the date portion of that clock. The time was right, but it was PM, not AM, and it was April 9th. It's very confusing. It's a battery-powered, it's one of those radio clocks, it's supposed to get the time from WWV in Fort Collins, but it doesn't, the time is right, but it was the wrong time of the day. It was evening, not morning, and then it's very strange. Clock keeps on slipping. It's technology in a nutshell for you, right? The problem is all of this stuff, even that little clock, which should be very simple, is hideously complex. Microprocessors with lots of millions of transistors doing all sorts of crazy. It's crazy complex. And very few people even understand how it works. Which worries me because if it breaks, we got problems. We're kind of in that boat, right? I don't know. It's broken. That's why you call me. But I can't always fix it. Fortunately, we've got a great chat room, irc.twit.tv. We've got hundreds of thousands of listeners. We've got the website, techguylabs.com. I think we can solve most problems. I may not be able to answer your question, but we can try. We can work on it. We got some smart minds here. Larry in Kerrville, Texas. Hello, Larry. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks for hanging on.
Hey, Leo. How you doing today?
I am well. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm one of those tech guys working from home, and I love it.
I love it because you're like me. You prefer machines to humans. Is that right?
Well, that's one disadvantage because you don't have any human interaction.
Right. But see, I don't need that. I'm happy. I'm fine.
Sorry you didn't get published on AARP.
Oh, you heard that story. I was off the air, but you were on hold. Oh, it's no big deal. I just couldn't figure out exactly what they wanted, so I just, that's fine. I started doing this many moons ago in the late 70s, writing articles for magazines now long gone like Byte and InfoWorld. And I always enjoyed it. The main reason I started writing, though, was because I loved technology, but I couldn't afford it. So it was a way for me to get review units of stuff or software for free to support my habit and get paid a little bit so I could buy stuff I needed.
Yeah.
That's what happened, and now here I am.
Here you are.
Yep.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday, I was reading an article about a widget by the name of Extra PC.
Extra PC. And what did Extra PC claim to do?
What they have is a USB drive with a Linux operating system on it.
Yeah.
You put it into your device or your computer, reboot it from your USB.
You bet.
And it is supposed to override your existing OS on your PC and run
Linux.
your apps.
Yeah.
Under Linux.
It becomes Linux. And this is it's xtra-pc.com. And it's a clever idea. Fortunately, they don't charge a lot for it. A 16 gigabyte stick is $35. But if you've got a USB key lying around, you can make one of your own for free pretty easily.
Oh.
And the reason is all they're doing is put Linux on a bootable USB drive. And it won't work with every computer, but if your computer can boot to an external USB device, and any computer in the last 10 years probably can, then you reboot your computer, you go into setup, and you'd have to do this with the Extra PC too, and tell it boot to the USB device. At least check to see if there's a USB device. In the old days, you might remember your computer, you could say, check the floppy first, and if there's no floppy in the drive, boot to the hard drive. Remember that? And your computer, you turn it on and it would go, as it checked the floppy, and then it would start. Well, this is kind of the same idea, except there's no more floppy. There's a USB drive, though, and so it checks it. If there's none there, if you don't have anything in the slot, it'll just go and start up normally. So it's not an unusual thing for people to set up their computer that way. When you put that USB key in, what happens is Linux starts up. Most versions of Linux, which is a free open source operating system I love, I'm sitting in front of a Linux computer right now, I'm a big fan. Most Linuxes are not only free, but offer this live boot process where if you put it properly on a USB key, and this is the only trick, this is the thing Extra PC does that you could do, but I'll tell you how in a second, then you can, when you start your machine, it'll boot up a full Linux with everything running. It's a good idea to do this yourself at first, if only to see that it works. Then you don't have to say, oh, it didn't work on my system and send it back to them to get a refund. So what I would suggest you do is download the favorite Linux for doing this is something called Pop! OS. So you go to, it's from a company called system76.com/pop. And they even have instructions on how to make a USB key. You'll download it on your machine. You're going to download something called an ISO file, which is, a computer file that is essentially the contents of a USB key or CD-ROM. It actually really originally comes from CD-ROMs. And you're going to use a little program. On Windows, I recommend a program called Rufus. It's free to write that contents of that ISO file to the USB key. Most Linuxes will fit in a tiny USB key. 2 gigabytes is usually enough. So use Rufus, rufus.ie. Open up the ISO file that you get from Pop! OS. Put in a USB key. Now be very careful. You want to say put it on that USB key, not in your internal hard drive. You don't want to overwrite your internal hard drive. Put it on the USB key. Tell your computer next time you start, boot that USB key. Now you're running Linux. Now, Extra PC probably does some changes to the Linux so that, for instance, it saves to the USB key. They may even have it set up so that it can run some of your Windows programs, because that's the number one problem people have with doing this is Linux is not Windows. So without a little extra help and a little configuration, it's not going to run Microsoft Office. On the other hand, there are almost always free programs that do the same thing. On Linux, for instance, instead of Microsoft Office, we use LibreOffice, Libre.
Yeah.
You're familiar with that. And it does everything Microsoft Office will do. So Extra PC is not really doing anything too special. They're doing a little configuration, I imagine. I've not tried it, but just reading what they do. A little extra configuration to the Linux that they're booting up. But they're basically putting a free operating system on a USB key.
Yeah.
And you plug it in and you boot to it. And there you go. A lot of people do this if they want to continue to use Windows on their main machine, but for banking or something they want to be more secure with, they'll use the Linux PC USB key and boot to that and then do their banking and then reboot and go back to Windows. That's a reasonable thing to do. Or if you're running an old version of Windows, like anything before Windows 10 that isn't getting updated, another reason you might want to do this. And Pop! OS and all of these Linuxes, I don't know if Extra PC will come with this, but there is on the desktop a button that says Install Linux, which will then, if you like it and everything works and you're happy, install it on your computer and wipe out Windows, which is pretty much what I do to every Windows PC. I really am not a fan.
I might want to try it on my personal PC, but I don't think I want to do it on the on our corporate PC.
No. Not. In fact, you probably can't. But you probably can boot to the USB key on the corporate PC. It won't change anything. Sometimes modern Windows PCs have security settings, and Extra PC would walk you through this also, that you have to turn off in order to boot Linux. Basically, it's called boot security, and you just turn off the boot security, which says, you can only boot Windows on this machine. What are you doing? Oh, you're making me crazy here. I can't boot Linux. That's dangerous. It's not dangerous. It's fine. So you turn off the boot security. You run this system. It's not going to modify your system at all. It's just a temporary thing, and when you're done with it, move on. I like it. And Extra PC is an easy way to do it if you're willing to spend a few extra bucks to do it. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. That's the number. Give me a ring. Let's talk high tech. Going on to line 2, Jocelyn in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Yes, it's your turn, Jocelyn. Come on down.
Hi, Leo.
Hi, Jocelyn. How are you?
You would just answer my question about summer weight fabric.
Oh, that's you in the chat room, Jocelyn. Of course.
Yes.
Yes, you have to have your masks. We're getting hot. We're going to have 100 degrees here in our Northern California town on Monday for Memorial Day. So I'm making a lightweight now cotton and silk mask just for the summertime.
Absolutely.
This is unfortunately, this batik print is more of a winter print. So I have some light airy summer fabrics, kind of like a summer dress, only a summer mask. Yes.
Yes.
I want masks to be a fashion statement. I want it to be cool to wear a mask. It's good for us. It'd be great if everybody just said, oh yeah, I love having my summer weight mask. It's so nice, you know?
Yes. Scarves are coming back.
Yes.
And they are masks are the new scarves.
Yes. Well, what can I do for you today?
All right. So my husband has deployed me to ask you a question. He has a Netgear streaming box similar to like a Roku or a Boxy. And he wants to know, can he turn this into his own Android box? Because Netgear is not supporting it anymore.
That's an interesting question. So it's an Android TV device.
Yes.
And he would just... Go ahead.
He wants to, turn it into Android TV.
Yeah.
I'm looking at him. He's nodding his head. But it was a proprietary Netgear.
It was an Android TV then, huh? Mm.
Correct.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So
how can I put Android TV
on an old box,
on my Netflix box? It's going to or Netgear. I'm sorry, not Netflix, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're saying it was not Android TV before? It was a proprietary operating system?
Correct. That ran Android or used Android.
But it was Android. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would do is go to XDA Developers. It's a forum, xda-developers.com. And it is the place to go for people with Android devices that they want to modify. I don't know off the top of my head if this old Netgear box can be modified, but I bet it can. It requires a couple of things. First of all, you have to be able to unlock the bootloader. So, and we were actually, believe it or not, we were talking about it with the last caller last hour, except we wanted to talk about putting Linux on a Windows laptop. Same thing. Most modern PCs have a locked bootloader. The bootloader is the firmware that is, the first thing that runs when you turn on a phone or a streaming box or a computer. If it's locked or it's got security on it, then you can't modify it. If you can unlock it, and with Android devices, most of the time you can, unless the manufacturer is very cranky, you should be able to modify it. That's step one, to be able to modify it. And then step two is to find somebody who's made ROM firmware that works on your particular hardware. And hardware is very particular. That Netgear box is a very specific processor, very specific configuration. It can almost, since it's already running Android, it probably can run a third-party version of Android, but somebody has to have made it, unless your husband's very skilled and can do it himself.
Hence we're calling you.
I couldn't. So that's the thing. And if you go to XDA Developers and you search for the specific model number of what you've got, whether it's an Android phone, any Android device, if there's somebody there or somebody's there who have hacked it, they'll be on XDA Developers and they'll have the information and the software you need. So I don't know the answer off the top of my head for that specific device, but this is what, anytime I get an Android phone, if I want to let's say Google, as often is the case, or the manufacturer, have abandoned the phone. We're not going to update it anymore. It's been 2 years. Why would you want an update? Get a new phone. Well, I don't want to get a new phone. So I'll go to xda-developers.com. I'll search for that phone. And you got to get the exact model. So, you can't even just say, whoa, it's a Samsung S5. You have to say, is it the Samsung S5 intended for the U.S. market or the Middle East market or the Asian market? You have to be very specific down to the model number. Same thing with your Netgear. So you'll enter in Netgear and the exact model number. And I can't promise there's somebody there, but certainly for almost all popular devices, all Android phones, there's somebody who's figured out how to unlock the boot ROM so that you can modify it, and then says, here's where you get firmware. And sometimes there's multiple firmware. Now, whether you'll be able to turn it into an Android TV, I don't know. That means somebody has to have written specific Android TV firmware. But that's very possible, absolutely. I just don't know off the top of my head, yeah. Now, if he can't, and he wants to spend money, I would recommend the NVIDIA Shield, which is the only really good Android TV out there. It is fantastic as a streaming device. It runs the most recent Android TV. It's updated regularly. They have a very nice remote control, but you can also get a joystick because you can play games with it. It supports Dolby Vision, Atmos, and has the new one is a very interesting AI upscaler that will take HD video and upscale it to 4K and really does a pretty darn good job. It also supports 4K TVs and 4K streams. So the new Shield is I think, very good, but it's a couple $100. So if you can't get that Netgear, up to date, say thank you for your service, send it off to the television streaming graveyard, and get a new one.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you called, Jocelyn. I'm sorry, Jocelyn. You probably hate it when people call you Joyce, don't you? I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. You're right. I'm sorry, but I'm for my joy in the chat room. That's why.
I'm so nice to see you. Are you new in the chat room, or have you been there for a while?
I have yet to set up my
IRC client.
Yes, that. So I'm web-based, but I change my name every time I come in.
Please do. Yeah, we like to know it's you. Yeah, it's fun in there. They're nice people, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful, nice people. Yeah. Also who have good ideas. So if anyone in the chat has an idea or a suggestion, feel free to press it forward.
Yes. Thank you. That's a great place to go to get a little extra help. irc.twit.tv. I'll see you in there, Jocelyn.
Thank you so much, Leo.
Thank you. Yeah. Was your husband's too shy to go on? I'm looking at Android Central has their pick of the best Android TV boxes in 2020. We'll put a link in the show notes. For gaming and streaming, they like the NVIDIA Shield. $150 at Amazon. That's not too bad. Oh, that's the little Shield. I have the bigger Shield, which is a little more expensive, but the little one's fine. It's just a little tube. And then they say small and functional and only $53. Xiaomi's Mi Box S. That's Xiaomi. Xiaomi. And the Mi Box S, rather. Another budget pick, $67. The eMatic Jetstream. The cheapest, though, quite amazingly inexpensive, the Vankyo Matrix box is only $33. VANKYO. But, we'll put a link to this Android Central review. I think it's not close at all. No runner-up. The very best is the NVIDIA Shield. I'm very happy with that. On the other hand, I have to say, if you want the most compatibility with the most channels, the most services, the most cable services, a Roku's the best bet. It's unfortunate, but there are a lot of services. I can't get my HBO Go to work on my Android Shield TV, my NVIDIA Shield. Not because the software doesn't exist, it does, but because my cable company, Comcast, doesn't want to allow it. For a long time, they wouldn't allow Roku. So that's kind of an issue if you want to use like HBO Now or HBO Go, I guess it is. So it's things like that unfortunately Android TV is a kind of a, what do they call it, a redheaded stepchild in the streamer world. But boy, nothing better for streaming games with the NVIDIA or the GeForce Now system is really good. It's a powerful processor, probably the most powerful streaming processor out there. Great picture. It does a lot of things well. Look, before you buy a streaming device, you should look and see what it supports. If all you care about is Netflix, everything supports Netflix and Amazon Prime. Everybody supports that. It's the other stuff. And Roku has the most other stuff in the bunch. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The captain in Tennille, I once asked the captain how he felt about music piracy. This was a few years ago. Napster was still around, and the music companies were going crazy over piracy. So I said, Captain, you had a lot of hits like this one. How do you feel about Napster and piracy? He says, I don't know. Ask Neil Sedaka. I said, what? He wrote all the songs. He gets all the royalties. We don't get royalties. So, oh, okay. 88. Now, if you ask Neil Sedaka, he probably would not feel so good about it. 8888, ask Leo the phone number. We're talking high tech. Bonnie's on the line from Slidell, Louisiana. Hello, Bonnie.
Hi, Leo. I have a question for you.
Yes.
I feel kind of like a dinosaur because my daughter just gave me my first iPhone for Mother's Day.
Oh, that is the sweetest daughter I ever heard of.
She is. She's amazing.
Oh, that's a nice gift.
Yeah. There's only one issue I'm having with it. For the longest time, I had a ringtone that I really, really liked.
Okay.
And I don't see it anywhere in the app place where you can buy it. However, I did find it online, and I tried to download it from the phone. I downloaded it 2 places, one on my computer just to see if it worked, and the other one I downloaded it on my phone.
What was the ringtone, just out of curiosity?
Okay, hang on, let me see.
Yeah, let's hear it. Oh, yeah, I know those. You really want, Bonnie, you really want that?
I love it.
So there are companies that sell these kind of jokey ringtones. So most people ringtones, the iPhone has its own ringtones. You hear it on TV, you hear it in movies, you hear it all the time in stores, everywhere you go. It's marimba. It's on the iPhone, and most people use that. But you can have your own personalized ringtones, and they sell them in the Apple Store. But what they don't, by the way, that's where you would get musical ringtones. If you wanted the Captain Tennille Muskrat Love as your ringtone, you could buy that. Maybe not, but I think you could buy that on the iTunes store. But it's silly to buy ringtones because you'll also find there are a lot of ringtone makers out there. The problem with these joke ringtones is they come from an app, right? That is, I don't know where you got it in the first place. Was it on your old phone?
No, this one was at a site called like Zedge or something.
Oh, Zedge. Joke ringtones, okay. Zedge.net. Yeah.
And see, it was free.
Yeah.
And I could download it. And I downloaded it to my phone. The only problem is that when I went to look for it, it's in a cloud, and I don't know how to get it off the cloud. And
right.
I wanted to try to download it as a file. But my daughter told me, don't download anything as a file.
Oh, your daughter's smart, but in this case, it's okay.
It is okay. It is okay to put just this ringtone on the file, and then set the phone back to cloud.
Yes, exactly. So there is a Zedge app. This is probably the best way to do it on iOS. Is it not in the Zedge app?
No, it's not. It's on a different page. The ringtone was on a different Zedge page.
So it's on the website, but it's not on the app.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So there are a lot of ways to do this, but it's going to take some ingenuity. You can play it. What we want is the original audio of that thing. Do you have a computer that you hook up your iPhone to?
I don't know how to hook it up.
Yeah. So this is
computer.
What
I was thinking is doing this, like how I played it just now. If I find something to record
it.
Just
exactly.
record it off the computer.
Yeah. Yep. So what you would do? What kind of computer do you have? Windows, or is it a PC or Mac? Okay.
Windows.
Okay. So you need a program that will record audio. There's a free one out there called Audacity. But you need a program that will record the audio from the website.
Well, see, that's the thing. And then the only thing I would be doing is like trying to send it back to the phone and...
No, yeah, and I'm going to help you do that. Listen, I can help you. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to record it to your computer, and it's going to be recorded as a WAV file.
Not an MP3?
You could record as an MP3, sure. WAV is a little bit better because it's not compressed. Because you're going to end up compressing it, but you're not going to compress it as an MP3. You're going to compress it in Apple's ringtone format, which is AAC. So this is a complicated thing, and probably too much trouble. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you the outline of it. We'll put this in the show notes. It would be best if you could find, is your daughter pretty geeky?
No.
Yeah, you need somebody geeky, because what you're going to do let me tell you conceptually what you're going to do. You're going to do exactly what you thought. Record it from the website. You're going to record it as a WAV file. You need iTunes on your PC. That's how you hook up your phone. You can import the WAV file into iTunes as a music file, convert it to a ringtone, and then sync it to your iPhone. And then it'll be available in the menu. So hold on a second. I ran out of time.
Okay.
but that's conceptual. That's conceptual. Oh, you already have it, but it's in the cloud, right?
No. Both places. I've got the ringtone.
Do you have the file?
On the file. That's
what is the file format for the ringtone?
Let me see.
So you don't need to record it. You have it.
Properties. It's MP3 on my computer.
Perfect. No problem.
And
so this is even easier. So you'll still need to install iTunes on your Windows computer, because that's how you're going to get it on the phone.
Oh, okay. And
So,
then I can just now wait a minute. I have one more question then.
yeah.
When I tried to, I was thinking about trying to. I remember before you used to be able to put to upload something. Like if you had a file or something, and you would go to say upload, it would like say save to disk or save to scan disk or save to something else.
Yeah.
But when I tried to do it on my computer now, it said I had to set my email as default. Well, I've only got one email, and it didn't show me how to do that.
You're making this too complicated.
I know. So I couldn't do it that way. But I was just thinking the easiest way possible, since I can download it to cloud, why can't I, instead of downloading it to cloud, go back to the same site where I downloaded it the first time and download it into a file where I can open on the iPhone?
Yeah. So if you can get that MP3 file on your computer, that's the key. So you see a file on your computer that says, call, you got to call, and .mp3. If you can see that file on your computer, it's in the cloud. This is the reason Zedge does this. They don't want you to do this. They want you to buy these. But if you can get it to an MP3 file, it doesn't matter what format, but you can get it to an MP3 file on your computer, then the process.
It's already there. That's what I clicked on.
Good. Oh, so you just played it for me from the computer.
Yes.
Oh, you're golden. So it's a 4-step process.
Okay.
And I'll put a link in the show notes to how to do this. Step 1.
Okay.
Step 1. You're going to import that song into your iTunes. You got to install iTunes. You're going to import it into iTunes. That's Apple's music program for putting music on your iPhone. So you're going to import it into iTunes. You have to convert it, and this is in iTunes. There's a way to convert it to an AAC recording. That's the format they use. And then you need to rename that file.
Okay, wait, convert it to an AAC?
Yeah, you can't write this down because you just won't. I'm gonna put a link at techguylabs.com, okay? So just try to understand it conceptually instead of making notes, because it's too complicated of a recipe. Conceptually, you're importing it into iTunes so iTunes can play it. You convert it into the format Apple uses. There's one extra step, which is you have to rename the file from MP, what do they call it? MPA or something to M4A to M4R. You don't have to change it, just name it M4R. And then you can synchronize it to your phone, and it'll show up as a ringtone in your settings.
Okay.
But so conceptually what you're doing is you're taking the MP3 you've got, you're importing it. First you have to install iTunes. You're importing it to iTunes, converting it, and then putting it on your phone. Those are the steps involved.
Okay, so what I thought would be the easiest is downloading it from the site onto a file instead of the cloud, and then going in through downloaded files on the phone and saving it there.
No, you can't.
That wouldn't work?
No. Okay. Because on the iPhone, there's no way to move it into the proper place. You have to do it through iTunes, as far as I know.
What about with GarageBand?
Yes, you could do it with GarageBand. Yeah, if you already have GarageBand.
I have GarageBand on my phone.
Yes,
so
if you can open that file in GarageBand, you can save it as a ringtone. GarageBand has that feature. Okay. You can use GarageBand. Even you could hold your iPhone up to the speaker and record it, and then save it as a ringtone. That might even be the easiest.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that too. I just
you could do that right now. Yeah, I got to run. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Who's got some cake? I think is there cake in the house? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Lady Laura, our musical director, thank you for cheering us up, playing some great music. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. The website where we put everything is techguylabs.com. For our last caller, I spent some time with her in the break, but conceptually, if you can get a ringtone as audio on your computer, you can convert it into a format that the iPhone can use and then sync it over to the iPhone. The iPhone wants an AAC file with the file extension M4R. And there are a number of ways to do that. She actually, on her own, came up with a great idea. I didn't even think of this, but on your iPhone, if you have GarageBand installed on your iPhone, one of the ways you can use GarageBand is to take any sound, make your own, or record something or download and edit something and save it as a ringtone. If you do that, the iPhone will recognize it and it'll add it to the settings. So she came up actually at the end of the call with the easiest way to do it. In fact, just play it. You've got the sound, play it on your computer, record it on your iPhone. It'll probably sound good enough for a ringtone. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Line 3, Jose in Modesto. Hello, Jose.
Hello, Leo.
Welcome.
I have a thanks. I have a question. Well, first of all, sorry for calling so much, but I have a question that what's a good alternative for StreamYard? For
StreamYard?
Yes.
Okay. StreamYard is for streaming video to Facebook or I think it does live view. It does a bunch of different places. So you'd run StreamYard. Let's see. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Periscope, Twitch, or any other service. So you want to do, what do you want to do? You want to do a show?
Yes, I do. And okay. I just wanted to see if there's an alternative to...
Well, where are you streaming it to? If you were just streaming it to Facebook, you can use the Facebook app to do that. But do you want to stream it to other places too?
Yes, YouTube and possibly Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, the advantage of StreamYard is that you stream once to them and then they share it out to all the other services. Each of those services, Twitch has, if you're on Twitch, you can do it yourself, use OBS or whatever and send it right to Twitch. If you're on YouTube, YouTube has a live feature, send it to YouTube Live. Facebook, same thing. But you want to stream live on all of those. I'm not recommending what we do. What we do is we have a very expensive device called an Elemental. In the early days of my podcast network, we streamed, and we still do, to all of those services and then some. In the early days, we would just make one feed and then I think we had a Mac Mini for each of these services, and we'd stream to each of them. We'd stream to the Mac Minis, and then they would be responsible, each Mac Mini responsible for its own place. That was an interesting way to do it, not the ideal. The Elementals replaced it, although it's essentially the same thing. It's one box from Amazon owns them, and it's one box. It's like $25,000, crazy expensive box. We send a stream to it, and then it sends the stream out in the format and everything that each of those expect. There are other ways to do it. There's a company called Wowza, W-O-W-Z-A. The thing is, all the services I know are kind of professional streaming services. Wowza is also going to be fairly expensive because it's, it's designed for broadcasters. Wowza is essentially like the Elemental or like that multiple Mac Mini setup. We called it Streamosaurus. Colleen, our great producer, or a great engineer, called it Streamosaurus. Let me think. What software there would be? I use also a Mevo camera, and the Mevo camera comes from a company called Livestream, and we'll do this. We'll stream to all of those. I bet you Livestream, their parent company, will also do that. Livestream is kind of like YouTube or Facebook. It's dedicated just to live streaming. But I wonder if I send it to Livestream, if I could then send it on to all the other services. Livestream.com. Oh, it looks like either they own Vimeo or Vimeo owns them. They're now paired up. Yeah, I think Livestream will let you do that. Unfortunately, all of these companies seem to have pivoted. Livestream, which used to be a consumer company and a consumer product, seems to have pivoted. The Mevo Cam might be a good way to do it, because then you buy this one piece of hardware and it will stream to all of the above automatically. So they sell the Mevo Start. I don't think it's very expensive. It will stream to Periscope, Vimeo Livestream, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, and Facebook Live, all the same. It's a shame that you'd have to use a specialized camera, but, if you're just using... Oh, it's expensive, too. It's $400. I've seen refurbished old Mevos, the one I have, for a couple of $100. So you might look for those. But what this lets you do is you can control it with your phone, use that camera. It'll stream to all of those automatically. That might be the best way to do it. Let me ask the chat room, because I'm not familiar with this. Will OBS let you sign into a variety of different streaming endpoints? I know our TriCaster will. OBS might be able to do that. OBS is a free service, free software, the online broadcasting system, Open Broadcaster software. Let me get it right. Yeah, it streams to all of them. My only question is if you can do all of them at once. But I would look at that. That's what a lot of people use. A lot of the YouTube game people, the Twitch game people, they're running the game. They're running OBS software. It's Windows, Mac, or Linux in the background. It captures the game stream plus their camera stream and sends it off. And I'm guessing it sends it to a variety of endpoints. This would somewhat be dependent on your bandwidth, of course. Dr. Flay in the chat room's come up with another one, restream.io. The reason a lot of people don't want to do this is because it's going to take a significant amount of bandwidth for each of those streams. And most people's home internet is not sufficient to handle that. You got to look at what your upstream bandwidth is. If you need a megabit per stream and you're streaming to 3 different places, that's probably faster than your home internet can handle. So you're going to need a lot of bandwidth. Restream works a little bit better, which I think it looks like it takes one stream from one of these services and restreams it, and they say to up to 30 plus social platforms. This might be the best way to do it. Restream, thank you, Dr. Flay. Restream.io. Restream.io, Jose. Ken in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Ken.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call. The problem is when I get in, it's at the end of the...
I got 1 minute for you.
Yeah, okay. A month ago, you told me that the problem I was having, I can't boot my Linux from my USB to get the Windows 10 out of my laptop.
Can you get it to run? If you boot into it, can you get the Linux to run?
No.
Okay.
You said
what happens?
A month ago it was UEFI, and I Googled it, and it's a secure boot, and I don't know how to.
Oh yeah, you have to disable secure boot. That's in the setup. So when you first start up your computer, and I don't know what the key is, it depends on the manufacturer, but it's hit escape, F1, whatever it is.
Right.
Go into the setup and go to the boot options, and you'll see secure boot. Linux. Almost always you have to turn off secure boot. That's designed for Windows. It needs a certificate.
I can't see secure boot.
It'll be there. If it's not there, then you can't install Linux on that computer. Hang on, because I will talk to you off the air. Dick DeBartolo coming up right after this. So you're in your BIOS setup.
Yeah.
Who makes the computer?
It's a Dell. It's an old Dell Inspiron.
Okay.
And I'm trying.
Well, it may not have secure. You know what? How old is it?
Let's see. I think I looked it up. I think it's 12 years old.
Okay. So that's why you can't find secure boot. They didn't have it in those days. So that's not the problem. That's not what's keeping you from booting up. In fact, it's not even a UEFI computer, probably.
May I tell you what's going on? Because I have 2 other laptops, and I've installed Linux on
Nice. Good man.
And so
So you do have a little experience doing this. Good.
Just enough to get me in trouble. So here's the thing. I put my USB in this. I've changed the boot order so that the first order is USB and to boot from the USB. And every single time it boots from my Windows 10 which is fresh installed, but it's ignoring the USB, whereas a different, if I have something else on the USB, it'll see, and I can use a USB for everything but booting my Linux.
And is it the same key you used on those other computers?
Pardon?
It's the same USB key you used on those other computers?
Yep.
So you know it boots?
Yep.
Because a lot of times one of the problems people run into frequently with this is they've made a USB key that's not bootable. But yours is, we know it is, because it worked on the other ones.
I think it's the same one. How would I know if it's bootable or not?
Well, see if it can boot on the other computers.
And
it doesn't necessarily install it. It'll just set up and run. And then you can go, oh, well, I guess it is bootable. You got to make sure that that's a bootable. Did you make it on a Windows machine?
I made it on my Ubuntu. And
so let's do this. Let's download a free program called Rufus on your Windows machine, your new Windows install.
Okay.
Rufus.ie. And this is a Windows program that makes bootable USB keys. I would even download a fresh install of the Linux just to make sure you've got a good install.
Well, let me ask you this. I get the installs from a torrent.
No. It could be corrupted.
A legitimate, from the Ubuntu site.
Okay.
From the Ubuntu site, I download and it takes forever.
Yeah. So do this. It's like Ubuntu, but it's a step better than Ubuntu. It's based on Ubuntu. It's called Pop OS.
Yes, I've heard you talk.
Yeah, system76.com/pop. Download it. It's a direct download. You don't need to use a torrent. You'll know you have a good download. Use Rufus to put it on that USB key. Then we know we have a good bootable USB key. You can even verify it by booting it into one of the other machines.
And if I want to switch to Ubuntu, because I'm familiar with that, and I'm running everything from how can I do that?
So the Ubuntu only offers torrents, huh?
Well, I go to their website, and it's a torrent or I can't remember, but
there are mirror downloads. I'm looking; they have mirror downloads.
I don't know.
Go to the mirror download. That's a direct download, like downloading anything else. Just download the ISO file.
Is there? You see, I'm not really. I'm just knowledgeable enough to get myself into trouble.
It's easy with a torrent to get a corrupt file.
Okay,
so go to the same site, xubuntu.org.
Yeah.
And below the torrent downloads, there's another section called mirror downloads.
I tried that once, and I ran into a barrier that I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Okay. It should just download like you download any other file.
To a USB key?
No, to the hard drive. Then use Rufus to make the USB key. It's disco time with Disco Dick, DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer, and our friendly Gizwiz. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing, pal?
This is Donna Summer, right?
Yes.
She's gonna go,
oh, Donna Summer. I thought it was Donald Summer.
I feel love. I feel love. I feel love.
Well, you don't have it anymore. You used to have it, but you
I just lost it. I lost it all. Dick joins us every week. He is very famous because he is one of the usual cast of idiots that wrote Mad Magazine for decades. He saved the Match Game by adding a little humor to what was a really boring show and making it the Match Game we all know and love. But he's also a Gizmo addict. He loves his gizmos and gadgets. He could have been called the Gadge Whiz, but we decided to call him the Gizwiz instead. Our gizmo wizard, Dick DeBartolo. Hi, Dickie D.
Hi, buddy. How you doing?
I'm glad
what are you
didn't...
drinking out of a coffee pot?
Yeah, it feels like it. You got to hydrate, right? This is a 54-ounce Bubba. And it's full of ice water, and it's delicious. I'm just trying to hydrate. You got to.
I hope you have a porta potty next to that rolling ball.
Like many radio stations, this one, even though I built it myself, has a feature that is very risky, which is a locking door that I have to go through to get to the men's room outside in the lobby. And I've always deeply feared. In fact, I think it's one of my DJ nightmares. Everybody who's worked in radio has these. That put a record on, put I Feel Love on, which is a nice long record. Get up, go to the bathroom, and the door closes, and you go, oh, no. Oh, no. I don't have my keys. And you're listening to the record, and you're going, it's not, I got a minute and a half. Fortunately.
And you hope the engineer, you hope you have an engineer, and that he is a key,
nobody,
right?
When I worked in radio, there was nobody there. It was just me, because it was the middle of the night, pounding on the door. Let me in!
Oh, my God.
I have actually, I saw one guy actually crawl up and over the ceiling. Which shows you how insecure that lock was, by the way. Dick joins us every week to give us a gizmo or gadget. What do you got for us this week?
Okay, so I love little combo gadgets, and May is Bike Safety Month. So on Amazon, I found this little guy that is a high-low headlight. For some reason, it has a yellow fog light. I don't know why. It has a built-in speedometer. Actually, the little cable for the speedometer. It's a trip indicator.
Ooh.
It has a 6-way horn. Now, the horn, I never read directions, and I sounded the horn off, and then I looked in the book, and the horn is 120 decibels.
Yikes.
Yes.
Should I turn down your mic?
Oh, no, I have it wrapped in a towel.
But, that's good because my bike is a little bell that goes ding.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I know I'm not going to save my life if a truck is backing out and I'm going ding, ding.
Yeah,
I need that.
You need this. And this is with a towel wrapped around it. Now,
wow.
And then... So all of this is powered by a built-in 2,500 milliamp rechargeable battery.
Oh, I like that.
It's very...
So that goes for how long? A day or two? Probably.
No, 2,500. That's on this is probably going to go like several weeks.
Yeah, because that's what a cell phone battery. Yeah. That's a big battery.
And little remote control for the horn that goes on your handlebar. It also comes with an LED tail light with 4 flashing modes.
Holy moly.
That has its own built-in battery.
Every kid should have this on his bike or her bike.
I paid $30.
What?
$30.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's from Teseku.
Yeah.
And you can find it if you go to gizwiz.biz. That's Dick's website. And you click the Gizwiz Visits the Tech Guy button there. And he has all the stuff he mentions on the show. Wow. That is a great idea. Now, do you ride a bike, Dick?
No, I have all this stuff on my scooter. I have the world's heaviest scooter. I had a bike.
Are you one of those crazy guys who rides around on your scooter? You got an American flag waving. You've got fuzzy headlights. No, you got dice. You don't deck it out.
I have an Alfred E. Newman flag on a 30-foot flagpole. I'm not trying to attract attention.
I want to see your scooter. Holy cow. That's hysterical. So this looks like a really good idea. Did you put it on your scooter?
Just to try it out. I can't make a lot of noise in the park. I'm just kind of shy that way.
Yeah.
But
there are people, though, who would have that horn, who would beep at pedestrians, pigeons, kids on the slide. Here's that crazy guy again, Daddy. I love this thing, and I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's very clever.
Every kid should have this on their bike because this is for safety.
Yeah, and inexpensive.
Yeah, I can't believe that. That's great. And the taillight, that's really good too.
Yeah, both of them rechargeable. I like that a lot. And waterproof, water resistant. They said it's fine in the rain, just don't drop it in water.
I know it is because the picture on Amazon is all wet.
Yes, exactly.
I love that when they do that. I guess it's waterproof. So if you go to gizwiz.biz, gizwiz.biz, you'll find a link to the Amazon and to a video, your one-take theater. Is your scooter in the video?
No, not in that video. I did another video. I
want to see your scooter.
I forget. Oh, that's the Razor, the big Razor.
And you ride it in the park?
In the park. I don't ride it on the streets.
No, good. When you go to gizwiz.biz, I should remind you, there's other stuff there. Dick sells his memoir of Mad magazine called Good Days in Mad, which is a great read if you're a Mad fan. I'm still kind of mourning Mad. What is happening with Mad? Are they...
it's not good. I just heard this week that it's going to be totally repeats now.
So
for
no
a while
new content.
It was going to be repeats, and then they started buying like 10 or 12 new pages, and I would occasionally write a new poster. But now I've heard only repeats.
No new.
Some people are enjoying it. People who said, they're running things that I missed.
I guess. DC Comics bought them, and they don't care. They just don't care. Which is sad because there's some great talent that is just going to waste, including this guy right here, Dick DeBartolo.
Yeah. I think moving into L.A. was not too good.
Well, anyway, there's still great stuff on the website. The Golden Days of Mad Magazine with Al Gaines, Dick, and the gang, and it's just a great read. There's also memorabilia, Mad Garb. Edge. There's
match game stuff.
Match game, actual cards read by Gene Rayburn. Little gin drops on them and everything. It's amazing.
The after lunch cards.
Lunch cards. All of it at gizwiz.biz. Dick has a great podcast too called The Gizwiz at gizwiz.tv. It's Memorial Day weekend. You're going to do a barbecue?
Boy, we had terrible rain all day today. It's supposed to be so-so tomorrow. So no.
We got 100 degrees on Monday.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we barbecued last night, and you got to do the corn on the cob thing, and it was so much fun. But I think we're going to have to do it again for the next few days because it's going to be beautiful out.
Oh, great! Good for you.
Well, and you enjoy the weather. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. We will see you next week, Dickie D.
I'll be here.
Gizwiz.biz. Thank you, Lady Laura. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for listening. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.